Welcome participants for this NPTEL MOOC program on handling healthcare data. We are on the 5th week. So far we have covered the basics of data, availability of data, basics of handling data. Also we have introduced about how to deal with healthcare data specifically. In this week we have primarily targeted to understand how the data can be filtered, or saved up, can be structured, can be organized. In the process we will also discuss extraction and merging. Therefore, we have kept the title as data filtration using Stata and SPSS. Myself Pratap Chandra Mohanty, I am presently associated with IIT Roorkee as a faculty member in the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences. I teach economics. This module I have been developing for over a long time, and this is assisted by our team Mr. Milind and Mr. Kamal. Related to this, I have been teaching research methodology over last 6 years. Therefore, any sort of difficulties you might be facing, I will be most happy to address it. Now, regarding survey data analysis, this is the name of the week. Within that, we have kept certain aspects like how to process the data, how to filter the data, how to extract the data, and we will also introduce about Stata operation. Though on the last week we discussed about basic understanding of Stata, this week we are going to extract data in Stata. Also on the way we will be introducing SPSS package as well. Though we are not exclusively targeting SPSS, but some of you might have been comfortable with SPSS. I will guide you the very basic direction of it, and rest I am 100% sure you can take off very correctly. So far as data filtration is concerned, let me just go by giving you an introduction to it. Like when you start work with a data set, your first work is to understand the data set and clean it off as per requirement. Every data files contains some documentation along with the data. One of the tips we have provided here, that is always go through the documentation file before starting to work on a database. There you are supposed to find out what is in fact relevant for you to use. Unfortunately, not all data sets have good documentation or any documentation at all. So, understanding the nature of the data itself is a vital skill. Stata data sets are rectangular arrays with n observations on m variables. So, n by m matrix is formed in its data set. Most of the data sets are used and data sets we are going to use are available either in Stata format or Excel format or text format, or also in SPSS format as well, okay, .sav format as well. To open the Stata file is in .dta. .dta, if that format you have just seen, the extension is .dta. At the end of the file you will see .dta as the extension. That means you should make sure that the data is fed in Stata format. On Stata window, simply click on the data like we have already shown to you. You go to file on the very left top menu, then click on open. Once you have opened the box of open, then it will direct you to browse the location where you have kept your data in .dta format. Once you have done this process, you can open your data, and that is for your use. Otherwise, in the command box on the Stata, I am not going to show it through the Stata window, because we have already guided earlier. This is simply a repetition. Here you simply write in the command use comma, then is folder name. Folder name should be invited, this should be invited comma, okay, double invited comma. So the path name should have attached with .dta, and at the end there must be a clear, comma then clear, that is basically clearing the earlier storage on the memory of data, and it will give you the space for the new data you wanted to load. So here once again we are guiding how to open it. The snapshot of this data we are just keeping it for you. It is here, like you have gone through file, then the open window, okay, file, then open. Once you open it, it will ask you where your data saved. We have saved it with our file here. You can open it accordingly, then you just click open your concern data. Once you know that this is what you are working, it will be opened on your screen. Else since we kept it in this folder, we can just put this command at the end. You can add one thing, that is comma clear. You can add it, that will be giving you the right direction. If you simply want to open the data through your Excel file, you just wanted to open your Excel file, okay, that is .xls or .txt data on Stata window. Simply click on file, then import, then file, then import is there. Import is once you on the top left file is there, then import, then click on the Excel spreadsheet, okay. If you click this or the text data, that is delimited text data. Regarding delimited and all, we will also guide you on our next lectures about what do you mean by delimited data, what do you mean by free format data, what do you mean by fixed format data. We will discuss about it. Then you browse the location of the data and click on this. You will open it on the command line, or you can also open a do file. This is what we have already guided in the last week. Now on the command import should be written import, then Excel, okay, then how you wanted to fix it or keep the data, you can specify it. So based on that it will open the data. Next, if it is text data, it's a delimited data. What do you mean by delimited data? We will discuss about it in our next week, next lectures. Then accordingly with the .txt data, you will find out the data on Stata. How to open through the click based approach. Here are the snapshot of in the window, like in the once you open import Excel, so Excel file you have to browse that. Here you need to browse here, okay, and you need to load where is your data all about. So then the cell range, worksheet, etc. can also be defined. But here import first row as variable names, that has to be specified. First row contain variable name, then import first row as a variable. So that has to be specified. You have to put a tick mark, then it will specify like this, okay. Then regarding delimited text data, okay, text data you have to again come up with this delimiter automatic. You can just select, and wherever your delimited data is available, you can also click on and submit it. Okay, these are the way. How to examine the data. It is always advisable to examine your data when you first read it into Stata to check all the variables and observations are present and in the correct format. SPSS and data, we are just giving certain overview at this moment. After maybe 20 minutes, I am going to again discuss about SPSS in detail. SPSS will allow you to save data as a Stata file as well. Okay, nowadays you have inbuilt SPSS to Stata transfer and Stata to SPSS transfer data available. Earlier we used to install a patch that could help us to convert SPSS file to Stata and Stata to SPSS. Nowadays these are all coming. So, once it is in SPSS file, if your data in SPSS file you want to work with Stata, you can simply click on Save As File, then Save As, then options will given to you at the bottom. So, whether it is in .dta or in .sav format, .xls format, anything you can submit it, and then your data data will be saved in DTA version. Another one, from the Stata to SPSS also you can do it. Once you have opened the data.dta file in Stata, okay, then you simply go to file, okay, file, then save as, okay, then you simply open. Once a box will be opened, and it will ask you like in which format you need to save. Okay, save format, you just .sav format you should have to open. Once you open it, your data is now stored with the help of by giving a proper name. Here name you should give here a correct name, or name should be here, sorry, it should be here. Then and its path name should be given correctly. So, with that you can able to store your data in SPSS format. Okay. If you are comfortable in SPSS, you can also operate through SPSS as well. Okay. So, let us review our previous lectures. If anything is missing, anything was missing in the previous lecture, you can now make a track. Like log files, how to have the log file. What do you mean by log file? I have already told you in the previous week as well. Whenever you open your Stata to start operating the Stata or start analyzing the data, it is always suggested that you should open your log file. Okay, and it is available in on the top down menu, file, then file. Then you will see log, okay, log begin. If you click on begin, then begin, it gives you two options, then .smcl or .log. Okay, so we are now suggesting you to go for .log. .log will save the data in .txt format like your notepad file. This one is going to save you in SPSS in Stata format, but mostly it is consuming more. This is consuming more space. So, it is suggested to go for the TXT format. Okay. Log file is a permanent record of everything we do in Stata. Once you start working with .txt or .log log. In future or in after certain time, if you get busy at that moment, you can open this data or your continuation of your output after some time as well. Okay. So, the sum result you can easily find it out through this log file. So, a log file is in fact a permanent record of everything we do in Stata, that is data manipulation, command syntax, output plus error messages, etc. All details are actually visible. When you open a log, Stata writes all results to both the results window and to the file we have specified. To open a log file, we need to use the command as log using a file name. So, you may give this command, then text replace, it will actually if it is in text, then it will actually save it in text format. So, text replace is important to create the .log file. This will save in plain text, as I already said. So, this will be saved and can be edited later since it will be saved in notepad file or word processor. Replace command basically is important because it is going to replace the earlier log file, If you do not do it, then it will actually overwrite it, okay, on the existing log file. So, better to take the replace command. If you do not do the replace command, it is going to overwrite on the same log file. You might be confused that what sort of file, what sort of output I operated today. So, if it is mixed with the previous log file, then you may be highly confused. So, a stata log can be saved in either of two formats, that is, as I told you, .smcl file or .log. .smcl stands for stata markup and control language. This format preserves all the stata formatting and control. .log is in fact a plain text format. This format is easily imported into MS Word or Notepad. It is possible to translate the format of your log from one format to other format that are readable by other applications as well. That is also one of the interesting aspect. So, we need to be very careful about log file because of the fact that these do not record pop-up graphs, that this is quite important. Like suppose we have given br command, browse command, that is not going to be displayed on the same window. Okay, it is going to create another it gives another window, and suppose we take help command, help command is going to be opened in another pop-up window, or suppose we wanted to do some graphs, it is opened in another pop-up window. So, that window is not saved in a log file. But if you give help like command, help is actually going to give you the output on the same window, and that is going to be saved in log file. So, graphs, if any, you have derived through the log, through your operation, through your work with stata, you have to save those graphs separately. Okay, you need to be careful about this aspect. Capture log close. Log close has to be made, closes any log file that you might have accidentally left open. Capturing log close is important. To close the log file, basically if you might have accidentally left open, you can give the command capture log close. It will actually capture which one was actually opened. But to close log file, it is also always important. This in fact, once you give log close, it will close it, and at the next time you can open it with that particular file. So, identifying the type of each variable, those are going to be useful in our command, in our stata operation. Most common variables that we are going to encounter, going to face, is of either continuous variable, either categorical variables, string variables, or identifier variables. Regarding string and all those variables and its meaning, I have already discussed earlier, but here we are going to use it. How we are going to use it? We are going to use it in our analysis. How we are going to use it in analysis? Like if the data is continuous, then what model we are supposed to give? If the data is categorical, then what econometrics model, statistical model you are supposed to apply? If the data is in string, then what should I do? Okay, should I destring the data or not? Those things we are guiding here. Okay. Or if it is an identifier variable, then how it is going to be helpful for merging. Okay. For one database with another database, those four things we are going to use most often now onwards. If it is continuous variable, as we have already defined, like ratio data, we have said out of 4 data, usually we find continuous characters of the ratio data. If it is continuous, this is in fact an infinite number of values possible. These are sometimes referred to as quantitative variables. The numbers they contain actually correspond to some quantity in real world. So, mathematical operations are possible, okay, in this data, and like income of the household, expenditure, age of the person, data, the weight of the person, height, etc., are all called quantitative variables. Qualitative variables we have already clarified, but still since we are going to use further, we are clarifying once again. Categorical could be your ordered variable, could be unordered variable, could be indicator variable. Okay, or unordered variable, like though it is categorical, like male and female, okay, though that is not called order. Okay, order variable like education of the person, standard of education of the person, that is clearly an order variable. Okay, so here these are also called like when we say factor variable, these are also categorical variable. We are also we also say those as factor variables. There could be finite set of values, and often since they are of having finite set of values, they are often called labels. Okay, the labels are typically stored as numbers, with 1 may be male, 2 may be female, 3 may be transgender, or vice versa. The numbers actually do not represent quantities, rather it only gives certain labels, okay, certain identification. Categorical variables can also be stored as strings, okay, can be stored as strings. With unordered categorical variables, the numbers assigned are completely arbitrary. So, this is what we have already said, this could be completely arbitrary. If these are completely arbitrary, then mathematical operation has no meaning. With ordered categorical variables, the labels have some natural order. So, like Likert scale based identification of certain indicators have certain magnitude of their values. Indicator variables, like it is only a binary variable 0 and 1, or have certain dummies, 1 does not have any value, rather it is dummied by another one, it is explained by another category. So, often we ask a question like we answer the question like, is some condition true for this observation? What we will do, our answer could be yes or no. Okay. So, yes or no. So, yes and no is actually a kind of dummy. It is simply indicating, simply giving certain indicators. Okay, it is not having any magnitude. String variables, we have already said it may contain mix of things, characters with numbers, okay, some identifiers. It's like they can be treated like categorical variables as well, as we already said. Identifier variables I have already explained. This simply allows you to find observation rather than containing information about it. What do you mean by identifier variables? Again, okay, identifier variables may be our, as I already mentioned earlier, it may be our primary keys or indexes. Okay. So, primary keys we will discuss about in detail at the time of extraction in our next lecture, next to next lecture as well. And our merging, where we will be merging some of the databases, we do require a primary keys and identifier. If you have a database on IITR students, then students enrollment ID would be a unique identifier that allows you to identify a single particular row. Sometimes a database is not uniquely identified by a single identifier variable as well. Sometimes a database is not uniquely identified by a single identifier variable. We have to mix multiple identifier, multiple we need to compound, we need to mix multiple information to define an identifier variables. You can just read it between the line and I am sure you will understand. Coming to the commands for checking unique identifier, we are going to use it in detail in our extraction. I am just going to give you the basic information at this moment. Like suppose we just wanted to understand the duplicate reports of variable or variable list. That is if variables have repeated values, it will produce a table with no number of copies, observation and surplus. If there is no repeated values, it will give 0 surplus value. Here, like with this duplicate report, we can find out whether this variable has repetition in the database or not. From here, duplicates in terms of all variables, if the surplus is coming out to be 0, okay, if it is 0, that means your database does not has any duplications, okay. But if we have observations, we have like here we can see that there are surplus is 0. That means these 23 observations have 0 surplus, no duplications, but in all other cases there are some duplications, okay. So there is a possibility of overlapping, or there is a possibility of creating an identifier because of duplications of entries in each in that particular file. So duplication helps us to identify whether we can go for a unique identifier or not, okay. This is the one we just derived with the help of HHID variable of this one from NSS. Okay, so we will experiment and let you know for sure at the time of our extraction and merging. Similarly, we will be using ISID command as well. ISID commands helps you to define whether your variable that you are thinking of making as unique, or the identifier variable whether that is unique or not, uniquely identifying the observation or not. The ISID command will help you out, okay. We are going to explain it for sure in our next lecture. So we need to note here that single variable, that is variable in the syntax, is used for single identifier, and variable list is used for compound identifiers. If there are more than one identifier, then that is called var list, otherwise it is only var, okay, as per our command. So there might be column identifier as well. In Stata, columns are identified by variable names. Variable names are always unique, okay. Stata do not allow you to create two variables with the same name, but they often have multiple parts, okay. So they have multiple parts, but they do not carry with the same name. Now converting string variables into numeric variable, we have already said earlier, we are again saying, and we will also be repeating these discussion in our next lecture as well. It is very common for numeric variables to be imported into data string. Before we can do much work with them, they need to be converted into numeric variables. Then only most of the operations or the mathematical operations analysis could be done. This can happen when one of the numbers was mistakenly entered as a letter, and or a non-numeric code is used for missing. The distinct command is the easy way to convert string to numbers, okay, and like this way you can do it. You simply write this command dstring, then the variable or variable list. If there are more than one variable which are common identifier to connect to different blocks of information, in that case you have to include variable 1, variable 2, variable 3, then you need to dstring it. And even like in this case we are not defining the common identifier, we are simply making them to numeric, okay. So either you simply distinct one variable at a go, or you can also list of variables. So you can write it here with a space and replace it, will distinct and generate a variable name. But another approach is that it is simply replacing. Another one is dstringing, dstring command you can give it, at the end you can generate a variable new name. New name would be saved with its numeric values, okay. Then sort command is we will also operate it in our next lecture. At this moment I am just giving you the theoretical background about it. On the next lecture we will operate it and explain you in detail. Sort, likewise we in the Excel sheet we sort the data. Here also we can, if you sort the variable name or variable list, we can able to sort the data in ascending order or in descending order as per our requirement. Okay. If you give more than one variable with this command, it will first sort the data according to the first variable and then to the second and third. Likewise we do it in Excel page, okay. You must sort each data set by the linking variable prior to their merge, that is a must command. Must, we are saying, before linking or merging the data, those identifier variable or the linking variable must have been sorted out, must be sort must be run with the command sort before they need to be merged. So, similar rename command, we have already said those basic details about data handling, how to rename data, especially rename old name and new name. If you give it, it will save with the new name. Okay. Likewise this. Then variable name cannot contain spaces for sure. This data does not read with spaces. There are some names suggested how you can give the variable name. One approach called camel name, another is called snake based name. Camel name basically, likewise camel, it has different shape. Okay. Like different shape at its different peak points. So, similarly you can capitalize your name. Okay. Next, if you like household income, you wanted to write it down, your first name, next one you can make it as capital. Okay. So, so that will be differentiating, and this kind of naming is called camel naming. Snake name is basically either you since it does not read spaces, so you can give underscore to differentiate the name. Okay. Underscore in case of snake case naming. Recode and replace, I think I already guided you, I need not spend much time here. Simply recode command with the variable name, and within the bracket what you exactly do it we have already specified in this particular slide. Keep and drop also we have already guided you earlier. It is basically whether you are going to keep or you are going to drop some of the variables or the value also. If you wanted to drop is important when you know that very specific variables need to be dropped, others to be kept. So, that is perfectly fine. But in case of keep, when there are so many variables, you wanted to keep very less number of variables, rest you do not bother, you do not mind, okay, then you keep command is most useful. Always keep a copy of your original data set before operating this, because this is going to wipe out, this is going to delete the others redundant variable other than your keep or drop command. Okay. So, I am not going to repeat, guys, you must have to read these, we have guided you earlier already. I think it is time to move on. Now, we are explaining about how we should go for understanding SPSS. Stata, basics of Stata, operating with Stata, some clarification in Stata which we missed in our earlier week. We did it today. On the next week also we are going to operate with its data set, with its practical data handling we will also do it. Now, I am clarifying what do you mean by SPSS and how you should go for it. SPSS, as we all know that it is very popular program and widely applied by social scientists. This is also called statistical package for the social sciences, and it was created for the social sciences like psychology, sociology, health and health services in 1968. In 2009 SPSS was purchased by IBM. Its proper name is now IBM SPSS Statistics. The biggest strength of SPSS is its user interface. We have also made comparison between SPSS, Stata, which one is better, Stata, SAS, R software. We have given a box earlier, you may also refer that from our very beginning of the lectures. The latest version of SPSS is available at this moment is 28th, released in May 2021. Okay, so you may get it, or the license, the free license copy for some days you may get it with registration. Okay. The data in SPSS can be stored in 3 different ways. Okay, that is most important. The data might have already been stored in SPSS data file. The file needs to be opened only for modifications and for statistical analysis. The data may not be digitized. The information may be available on a filled out or paper form. Thus, a data must be created. This is another one. The third one is the results may be entered into a digital file using a spreadsheet program like the popular program called Excel. The file must be converted to an SPSS. Okay. So, in three way we can use the SPSS data. Data in SPSS is saved in format called .sav, which I have already mentioned, SAV format. The SPSS can recognize and import the data of stata from the .dta file, that is stata file, without any altercation or further specification. So, both ways, stata to SPSS or SPSS to stata can be done, right, without any mistake. For other, I discussed just couple of minutes back in this particular lecture about this. For other data files, SPSS will prompt for additional information as needed depending on the file type. The bars and drop down menus are very important in SPSS. After SPSS gets started, a data window will appear. Once that is started, a data window will appear. This window contains 4 bars. That is quite important: the title bar, menu bar, toolbar and status bar. Okay. So, the title bar contains basically the name of the file that has been opened. The menu bar is containing information about SPSS menus. Then toolbar allows you to select the SPSS task. Status bar is all about help you to know in what stage the program is in. Okay. This is what is all about. We have given the snapshot of the page. Here is all about, this is the title bar, this is the menu bar here, then this is the this is the toolbar, and the status bar, you can read that your SPSS statistics processor is ready to work. Another two things we are also going to guide you is called data view and variable view. One important aspect I should suggest to everyone is that while anyone is doing survey on their own on a very small scale basis, and you wanted to operate in stata or in SPSS, so better to enter your data in SPSS format. SPSS data format is very handy and is going to give you correct check. I will also guide you in between how you should do it. So, what is all about SPSS window? There are two view mode of SPSS, that is called data view and variable view, which I just mentioned, data view and variable view. Data view is basically a spreadsheet, okay, which we used to show in stata. That shows each row represents one particular one participant or subject or case. Each column is dedicated to a variable. So, variable view is divided into name of the variable, type of the variable with decimal, its width, label, values, missing, columns, aligning in which way, right alignment or left alignment, measure which type of measurement of the data you want to specify, and other roles are important as well. We will also show it. Here on the one side we have shown what is called data view, and this is here, this is called variable view. On the variable view, suppose I said I write down the variable name, let it be variable name is, first name is a name like I said household size. Suppose I said household size, and what I will do, I will specify its width. As a width is till 8th number, till how much number you wanted to specify width, it has to be either you increase or you will decrease. Okay. So, and label you will specifically write down the details. You can write down household size in detail. Okay. And similarly, there are other till what decimal point you can keep it, you can also specify which type of data variable is it, then its alignment, right alignment or left alignment you can specify. Okay. Then most importantly its measurement, whether it is in ratio data, numeric data, okay, etc., can also be specified. Once you have defined your variable number here, once you enter it and values, like suppose it is this is in number. Okay, suppose you in the next variable is called gender of the person who has responded. Gender, likewise this you can specify. Gender, you can say male and female. Suppose this is what you wanted to address in gender. You can specify the values on the values point, like you can say on the, once you click here, it will redirect you to another small window where you have to give 1 stands for male, 2 stands for female, you have to specify here, okay, or 3 stands for transgender. Okay. So, once you do it, accordingly your data and on the data view, all your entry will go like this. Now this side, it is your variable. On the column wise you can see your variables. Here it will automatically show you, like this is household size. On the next it will automatically show you gender, since you have already entered there. Okay, so the number, it will come like first observation, if the first observation is male, then 1 will be entered if you have entered 1 there. If it is fourth is the third gender, then 3 will come. Okay, so these are quite number. Maybe on first individual saying that in a household we have 5 members, another might be saying 3 members. Likewise this others will respond. Okay. So what are the rows in variable view, and like rows, I have already said that they are basically the cases. Rows in variable view, basically you need to specify the variable names. In rows in data view, that is basically cases. So variable name you need to give with no spaces, that is important, no space, no special character or symbols. First character cannot be a number, that is another important aspect, and that must be unique within the data set, should not be repeating with the same name. Like type of variable can be numeric, comma, dot, maybe you have to specify $x, etc. Rest of the detail you will find out by your own operation. Width, similarly decimals point, label, values, etc. I have already defined to you. Missing, if you know that this is this one is having missing values, like values being used when response is not applicable or not to be answered, then you can add as missing. Okay. Similarly, columns, the width of the data column for this variable should also be mentioned. Alignment, left right alignment should be given. Measurements either in scale, nominal, ordinal, etc. should be defined. Here we have given in decimal point the data with decimal point, CT code without decimal point. So far as data view is concerned, in variable view basically these are entered in the variable view. Okay, and this is in data view we have presented, and this is in variable view. This is what the variable we have shown to you just now. Numeric we have specified as numeric here, then its width at maximum it is going to read 8th width spaces at since 8th you have defined. CT code, we know that it's not going to be more than 3 entries. So 2 space at maximum, 2 width, so 2 we have given. Similarly, decimal point, wherever it is not required we can give it 0. Label is defined, it is detailing or detail name of that particular variable. Values, if any categorically, if it is categorical, and then you could have defined the values accordingly. Missing, since no missing is there, we have mentioned as none. Usually it goes with none. Okay, then alignment, scale, etc. can also be defined clearly in the variable view. Now after making sure that we have done those basic details, we should go for some descriptive analysis. How to go do the descriptive analysis? Basically that will be displayed in our output window. This is what is our output window. We can do it through the analyze. Within the analyze, once you click on it, it will ask for descriptives. Okay, it is there in our slide. The descriptive word likewise we did in our stata. We will have the same thing like number of observation, minimum, maximum, mean value and standard deviation. All those things are also available here. Some data modifications can be done, editing or modifying variables is known as data modification. It simply means the transformation or adaptation of data to make it fit for statistical application. There are various ways to do this: recoding of the existing variables, computing new variables, selecting cases from a data file, or splitting the data into groups. Likewise, in stata we go for do file. Here in SPSS we have syntax. Okay. In syntax we can also save our command, and we can also operate in SPSS as well. But most of the people prefer to work through the drop down menus because it is very friendly and very fast. Variables are recoded for two reasons. Because of modifying certain values of a variable, or to group certain values into one single value. Okay. In recoding there are two options, that is called recoding into same variable or recoding into different variable. So, both are possible. If it is recoding into same variable, then with this command the variable keeps the same name labels with the new values in the same column. New values in the same column, but the new values will be entered. As a consequences of this command, the original data are overwritten now and lost with the previous data that is stored. There is no way to control the process and no way to undo the action save returning to the original file. Therefore, you are advised to use this method of recoding. You are suggested not to use this method for recoding. Rather, the second method should be adopted, that is to go for a new recode, okay, to a different variable. That is always suggested. This one is most preferred, since this is replacing the original data. So, you might miss those things for further work. If you are adopting recode into different variable, then basically a new original variable you can create, and based on your requirement those new values are added to the file under a new variable name in the first empty column of the data set. We will show it here on the command recode into different variable. If you go to the edit data menu, like on the menu bar, select transform, it is there on the window. Here is the transform command. You want to transform the data, you go there, you will see this particular command, recode into different variable. It will give you the option like recode into same variable, recode into different variable. So, better to click on this. Okay. Then double click on the variable to be recorded, that is the variable you wanted to record. You can just simply double click on it, it will come over here on the screen. Okay. Then like double click, in this case we have used age. Okay. Age, thereby replacing it in the box. Okay. We have kept it in the box. Now, name we have given as elderly. Okay. Elderly, click on the box directly beneath name and fill the name for the new variable. Use elderly as the new name and it will actually automatically change after once you save it. Okay. But if you have different values within the variable, if you want to change certain values, some new values you wanted to give it, you can also take this option, and once you click it, you will find out all those things. Yes, we have given it here like recode into different variables with old and new values. That values window we have kept it in this particular page. So, old and new values in the previous window we are now carrying forward. Simply the check range, then range you can define 30 through 45. If you give it, it will automatically, then 30 through 45 which is code name. Okay. Suppose we wanted to keep 30 to 45 as with the code as 1, Like in the standard of living, if you wanted to give their standard till 20,000 is their expenditure, that will be carrying 1 code. Okay, then 20,001 expenditure till 50,000 expenditure, you can give code 2. Okay, you are basically transferring the values. You may make it a categorical variable. So, in that case, so what we are defining, we are taking the option called range. We have defined this and given a value 1. Once you in the new value, if it is 1, then once you add it, it will be added here on this box. Okay. Then again, if I change then 46 through 60, then then we will change it to 2 here, we will change it to 2, write it down 2 here, then add it, it will actually change it, and similarly for 3 as well. So, similarly we can also define lowest and its highest value and can find out which one is the best. Alright, and rest of the details we have guided, and I am sure you will enjoy and dealing with these things. So, now the elderly the data whatever is changed, it is highlighted. The data that is that can be recoded, the age can be recoded to different groups. Okay. So, 2 here we have defined 3, and accordingly I think some guidance I have given it here for your reference. I am sure you will enjoy operating on your own. Similarly, creating a new variable, it is possible. Okay. SPSS provide the options to create new variables from a combination of other existing variables. Again from the transformation transform option on the menu bar, you click there, then then you compute variable. Okay. This is what is required. A dialog window will be coming as compute variable. Then you can execute with options. Some options we can give it like column compute 1, 2, 3, etc. Will also we can able to get all those details. Descriptive statistics is possible, likewise we do in Stata. In SPSS also we go to analyze, and then we will get 4 options: frequencies, descriptives, explore, or cross tabulation. Cross tabulation where we require more than one variable, maybe 2 and more variables. Okay. Alright, I am not explaining much here, rest you will be guided on your own. If you click on frequencies, you want these variables or elderly variable and its frequency. Okay. You double click on the elderly and then click it here. You can take options here, statistics, what sort of statistics I want. Okay. In my result, all of whether I want in chart also, which style I want, which format I want, and once you click OK, it will give you the table like this. Okay. It gives you frequency, percentage, valid percentage, and cumulative percentage as well. Similarly, if you take some statistics options as well, it will give you mean value, median, mode, etc. Okay. Contingency table in Stata through cross tabulation. Contingency table basically if the data are ordinal or nominal, these kind of tables are preferred. Okay. And if this is basically called bivariate tables, we can do it. We have to select row variable and column variable, one variable in row and another variable in column. Then accordingly we can take its statistics, cell percentage or column percentage, those things will have to be defined. Okay. Then once you click on OK, or if you want to have a third variable, likewise you did it by sort in Stata, you can keep it the third variable over here, layer 1 of 1. Okay. So, here gender and age or elderly, that is health and elderly, we have taken a cross tabulation at contingency table for 2 and 2 cross table. We have taken some basic statistics as well, and the result is displayed here, and once you operate on the same way, I am sure you will get the result very correctly. Similarly, from the analyze window, analyze point or on the menu bar, you will get regression. You click on linear regression and you specify the variables. Specifier variable means in regression you are supposed to discuss your dependent variable, your independent variable correctly. Then if you click on the result with some statistics, okay, then that will surely give you the result, okay, correctly. Or other details I am not guiding because of time paucity. We may continue if your requirements are there. We will also be happy to guide you further. So, but here all selections of variables you can specify. All other variables the other than dependent can also be mentioned, okay, and once you mention it, it will help you to derive the result. So, these are all for SPSS to start with. I know that many of the discussions still required. Once you start operating on your own, I am sure you will understand many things of SPSS for sure. With this, I think I am looking forward for your queries, okay, and from the next class we will be happy to address you on data extraction and merging using NSS data. Okay, thank you.